Hello and welcome back to The Good Mood with the Good Dude. It's been a little while. What do you do with your excess green stuff? I don't know about you, but when I'm mixing my part A and my part B, I find it almost impossible to mix the right amount. I guess you could say I mix my green stuff like I mix my drinks. Say when. I have heard that some people put their green stuff in the fridge or the freezer, and that's not what I do, but I did try that for this video, so stick around until the end to see how that worked out. What I do with my excess green stuff is I use it, but not on my main project. I either use it to bulk out bases of models that have bases that need bulking out, or I sculpt silly little side projects. Ones that I'm not worried if the green stuff doesn't look that good because it was sculpted when it was part cured. And well, this video is a story of how a silly little side project became a miniature. In 2019, there was only one way that you could buy a box of lizard men from Games Workshop. The only way you could buy a box of those guys was to buy the Guacamole Crater Gators, the Blood Bowl team. These guys are still from Lustria. And so I bought the Guacamole Crater Gators. And when I started building them and painting them, I thought to myself, hey, maybe I could make an Armies on Parade display. I could also create like a stadium in which they're playing a game, and this stadium could be full of wacky, crazy characters, just absolutely teeming with life, overflowing with personality, cheering on their favorite little moments, people interacting, eating hamburgers, fighting with each other. So many Easter eggs. Easy, right? As I started working on this project, I used my excess putty to work on a character. This character would be a skink in a mascot suit. He would be sat alone behind the stadium, taking a cigarette break, thinking to himself, this isn't the life I imagined for myself. Filled with emptiness, representing the same defeated vibe of, that sad Keanu image. I think there is an obvious contrast to be made between the joy and fantasy of a mascot and the depressing reality of a faceless worker paid peanuts to stand around in a goofy costume. While writing this script, I googled SAD mascot and found this photographer's project called SAD Mascots in Moscow. As he says, coming from a Canadian perspective, you expect a mascot to be overly happy, overly enthusiastic, and what you find here is they're not exactly happy. As it is in Moscow, so it is in old Lustria. And as you can see, smoking cigarettes is an even more powerful image of the futility of life than eating a sandwich. I knew I wanted to have a mascot in this stadium, but not a sports mascot. Like, sports mascots are a huge deal. They're a huge part of sports. So that would kind of be a no-brainer, but I thought they're the Guacamole Crater Gators because they're lizard men. They're already gators, so it wouldn't really make sense to have a lizard man dressed as a lizard man. But now that I think about it, it's kind of actually a great idea. But at the time, I was thinking that this would be a fast food mascot, like Ronald McDonald the Clown or Burger King the Burger King. Mascots have been around for basically as long as fast food. The first ones appeared in the 60s and 70s, and they continued to exist throughout the 90s. It seems like they faded away as everyone agreed that marketing addictive poison to children was unethical. Maybe there are even demographic reasons in the background. Kids aren't the big audience that they were several decades ago. And look, I mean, tastes change. I can't really imagine Gen Alpha or Zoomers before them really connecting with something as cringe as a fucking Ronald McDonald the Clown. The only mascot I could really see resonating with kids today is Grimace. He's the only one. He's just like a big fat purple blob. I think they vibe with Grimace. Ultimately, I want to make a logo that can go on a billboard or banners, advertising banners in the stadium to advertise this fictional fast food chain. And the name of the fast food chain is Mazdamundits. Mazdamundits. It's like a joke It's a play on Mazdamundi, Lord Mazdamundi.
I'm pretty happy with where the logo is up to right now, but he doesn't have the headdress, which is kind of probably important for him to look like Mazdamundi rather than just a random frog. So there's definitely room for improvement, but it's good enough for now. A big influence on this mascot and its design is the Durr Burger from Fortnite. I know, Fortnite. It's pretty embarrassing, right? But keep in mind that the initial concepting for this diorama and most of the progress that happened in early 2020, which was less than a year after the Fortnite World Cup, the one with a prize pool of $30 million. So Fortnite, even though it was still childish, it was kind of a phenomenon at the time. And now that I think of it, maybe the mascots haven't gone away. It's just that the fast food we feed our kids has changed from burgers and fries to massively multiplayer online live service experiences filled with battle passes and cosmetic microtransactions. You don't need to market burgers to kids because their fat fuck parents have already been hooked on those for decades. Now, as a side note, I think Fortnite has kind of lost some of its goofy, cartoony origins in recent years. According to the Fortnite wiki page on food chain mascots, the last mascot was released in 2020. Kind of sad. But then, these fuckers are in every Fortnite cinematic, so maybe that's just the thing with mascots. Once you make a couple that work, you don't need to make any more. And when they don't work anymore, you kill them.
A big and tasty for just $1? How do you do it? What's your secret? Together, Grimace, we could own this town.
No. Finally, my Mazdamundit's mascot is complete. Man, it's been a long few years, but it's finally done. If I can do it, you can do it too. And this video wasn't about showing you how I painted a miniature or even made it. But, if you want to see the recipe that I used, pause the video now, I'll put it on screen. I think that it's a good idea to save your painting recipes, particularly if it takes you several years to complete a project. You just might forget what you're doing.
Oh, and what happens when you put epoxy putty in the fridge or freezer? Well, I mixed up the combination of green stuff and Magic Sculpt that I've been using lately, threw some in the freezer and some in the fridge. I left it in there for a few days, cured. Yeah, it cured. But it cured less in the freezer than the fridge. I need to do a bit of testing to see how long the cold extends the curing time. Obviously it does, because it didn't cure completely in the freezer compared to the fridge. So maybe this would work during a single session, like if you started in the morning and then you were just doing this for a few hours. Maybe it would work overnight, unclear. It's definitely not going to, work longer, like a longer period of time, but it's worth trying out to see what that window of effectiveness for this is for the kind of mixture of epoxy putty and brand that you use.
Well, thank you so much for watching this video to this point if you did. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you. Stick around for more videos that could get released this year, maybe? Oh, this year, that's a bit much. But maybe once a year? Stick around for another video that might come out in several months. Who knows? All I know is that this is my good mood. I am the good dude, and I will see you in the future. Bye!